there! Have you subscribed to our channel yet? Invite your friends and search for CSLGH.
I'm live. Good evening and welcome to our discussion night at the Science of Mind, at the Center for Spiritual Living in Granada Hills. And we welcome everyone that wants to listen. And if you want to send a note online, not Reverend Mike, but Mike will share it with you. My name is Nancy Woods, and I'm an assistant minister here at the center. And we welcome Reverend Kathy, who is going to be lighting the flames of faith for us. And we start every service by lighting the flames of faith, and it's a call to service. As we recognize that we perform this ceremony to promote the universal consciousness of life, which acknowledges that all people, all faiths, all sentient beings come from one great universal presence, which we call spirit. Fundamental to this truth is the unified nature of all religious thought and experience, which we honor here today. So it's that Reverend Kathy lights the first candle. It's for the Tao, honoring the universal path of harmony and equilibrium, the natural way. We light the second candle for the shamanic tradition, honoring the beliefs and practice of all indigenous people, the way of primal spirituality. We light the third candle for Hinduism, honoring the path of knowledge, action, and devotion. We light the fourth candle for Judaism, honoring the ethical path of living by sacred law. We light the fifth candle for all forms of Buddhism, honoring the Four Noble Truths and the path of compassion. We light the sixth candle for all forms of Christianity, honoring the Christ consciousness as the path of love. We light the seventh candle for all forms of Islam, honoring the path of submission to the will of God as the highest calling. We light the eighth candle for a universalistic religion of Baha'i, honoring the path of unity and peace. We light the ninth candle for all forms of New Thought, honoring the metaphysical path of mental healing through the practice of universal spiritual principles. We light the 10th candle for those who are as yet unaware of spirit in their lives, and for the space we are holding for them here at the center and in our hearts. And as Kathy lights the healing candle, please put silently into the light the names of anyone you wish to have experienced the healing flames of God's eternal love.
I'm thankful, so grateful. I'm one with the Spirit all around me. I'm thankful, so grateful. I trust in God. I surrender. I'm one with the Spirit all around me. I surrender. I trust in God.
So join me, please, as I speak in the first person for everyone here and online. I am indeed so thankful and grateful to be here tonight and recognize this presence, this power, this life, which is God's life and my life and everyone's life right now. And God is enlightenment and lively discussion and love and support. And I am one with God with its lively discussion, love and support. So I hereby proclaim that this evening, this next hour, is a perfect and complete idea in the mind of God as I have this lively discussion and embody the living the science of mind at greater depths, and knowing that I am so indeed trusting of this process, of this presence of God within me, always divinely guiding and directing me. And so I am so filled with love tonight. And I do give thanks. I give glorious thanks for this evening, giving thanks for Reverend Nancy and for Mike on the sound and every single person participating here and online. I am so thankful to have this loving, supportive discussion tonight. So I now release my word to the law. I know it is done, I know it is so, and together we say, and so it is. Good evening, everyone. I'm Kathy Lyons. I'm a staff minister here at the Granada Hills Center for Spiritual Living, specializing in animal kinship ministry. I have a few announcements before we get into our dynamic discussion group. Practitioners are available in the treatment room for a 2-minute affirmative prayer, and that's on Sunday. And licensed practitioner, Nancy and me, anyway, or you can find a practitioner online at cslgh.org. Would you like to have a voice in important decisions and upcoming happenings in our community? Please make sure you are a CSLGH member and that your contact info is up to date. There are member applications and contact update forms in Sparks Hall. You can also see Danny in the office for assistance with this. See today's July 1st edition of the newsletter to review the 3 senior minister candidates' upcoming schedule later this month, including their Sunday talks and their titles of the workshops they will present here at the center. Save the dates to attend these important weekends. Next Wednesday, July 8th at 7 p.m., join practitioner Michael Tatlock as he leads the Get Real and Heal meditation service. Come and enjoy a peaceful midweek reset. Donations are accepted at the door. And now we will go to our discussion. Thank you.
And it is always a pleasure to have a discussion about living these principles. And this is what this whole discussion group about. And one of the things that I've learned over the years that there is many people is in existence. That's how many ways that we can live these principles. But what I also have found is that everybody's view somehow gifts you with an expanded understanding of the truth when it's expressed. So it is a really wonderful opportunity when we have this discussion because we can hear the same truth coming from so many different ways. One of them will resonate with you. So it is always. And so most of the stuff that we have been discussing is from the Ernest Holmes book, Living the Science of Mind. And what we do is read it, and then we just openly give our view of the concept that has been read. So I asked Mary Jane to start us off.
It needs to be on, yeah. Hello? I need to, just a minute, turn it up. Okay.
Hello. Oh, that's on. Okay. My name's Mary Jane, and this is from Living Science of Mind, page 333. Do not condemn yourself. Knowing the truth is a spiritual treatment. To know that there is no man external to the likeness of God is a part of this treatment. The treatment must rise higher in consciousness than the condition it expects to heal. If you are treating to heal pain, you must come to a conclusion of peace, which is greater than the experience of pain your patient is having. In such degree as you are successful in doing this, the pain will cease.
In such a case, one should treat until one dissolves fear. Perfect love casts out fear. Take the thought of peace, of love, of perfection. Work with it from every angle you can imagine until there comes an inner awareness of its meaning. Peace is perfection where pain is not. Pain is an experience which is now eliminated, now completely reversed. Over and over, reassure yourself of man's perfection.
Do not condemn yourself or the self of your patient. The truth about man is that he is God made manifest. He is the personality of God. Your knowledge of this becomes his freedom. Your knowledge of this is more than the way shower. It is the way itself. Jesus said, I am the way, the truth, and the life. No man cometh unto the Father but by me, which means that we approach reality directly through our own spiritual natures. This is the only true and real mediator between God and man. There is no other.
The real man and the real body are perfect right now. Your knowledge of this establishes its manifestation in your patient's experience at the level of your own comprehension of the meaning of the words you use.
You know, when we read this title, Catherine and I were discussing whether we should talk about which title to talk about. And one of the things that we both had to laugh because this is something that we both have worked with, studied with, and she does treatment for me and I do treatment for her, and it seems like it's always getting ourselves out of the way and not judging ourselves when we make those steps. And I think it's a topic that most of us have had, and they said we always are our worst judgment, the first person that we condemn. And for myself, I would say yes, because I feel like sometimes I judge myself almost before I even think about it. It's almost like I have these formed ideas of how life should be that I don't even recognize that I have them until I go off track. And then it's, oh, why did I say that? Why did I think that? Was that too harsh? Was that right? Did I say it like it's supposed to be said? Did I do it like it was? So for me, this was perfect, and I love that first paragraph. Knowing the truth is a spiritual treatment. It is one of the things that really helps me, because once I recognize that I have stepped on that path of self-judgment, I find that I can kind of smile or laugh, because this is the truth that I feel like is the real truth. And the other thing is the imprints of society that I have bought into. So when knowing the truth is a spiritual treatment, it is what frees me, even when I do step into that path of judging myself.
What I like to say is, what I like is The treatment must rise higher in consciousness than the condition it expects to heal. And that's why it's important, why I will call Nancy at times, because sometimes if I get caught up in the realm of the effects, a lot of time of treatment to get out of that, because realm of effects, that's at the same condition, whatever's going on. If I want something better, it's the treatment is to rise above that condition.
So, as we throw this topic out there, I think I'm looking at who's in front of me, and I am very excited about hearing what
Yeah.
each one of you have to present with this concept. I happen to know most of the people in front of me. That's why I'm saying that.
Hi, my name is Andrea, and I'm a psychologist, and psychoneuroimmunology is my passion, mind-body medicine. And one of the principles that I use a lot is accept the diagnosis, but reject the prognosis. I feel like I'm a spiritual being having a human experience, and some things may come up in my human experience that don't fit with my spiritual knowledge of the truth that is wholeness, perfection, completeness, and the race consciousness, the way the world sees things, the way I've been taught from most sources is that there are certain, well, this can't be healed, this is something you just got to live with, or this is something that requires excessive treatment and painful processes to go through. It ain't so. When we know the truth and feel the truth and bring that living consciousness to our present self, we can heal anything, I think.
Beautifully.
Thank you. That was beautiful.
Anybody else? No. Did this strike anyone else as being powerful? I mean, you said such a beautiful description of it. And as I grow into understanding what you just described, and I can embrace it more and more today than before. I think that for me, the overt rejection of myself and what I'm doing, I've kind of let go of, but the subtle ones are the ones that I find sliding into place that I didn't even recognize. I'm still, and it's so much of the historical experience that shows up, that affects it, that I don't recognize I still have until it shows up. But I really appreciate how you describe it. It really warms my heart to know that description is out there and that we are working in our society to embrace these kind of truths. And more than ever before, I hear more people are aware of it, are conscious of not judging themselves, or not knocking themselves. But most of the experiences I have had with people counseling, that seems to be the first thing that comes up, is that self-judgment of their own behavior. And so it is a step in healing. And when they talk about treatment, the treatment must rise higher in consciousness. I know that sounds like it's something that that is out there beyond us on a regular basis. But what I found is that treatment is the one place where we can truly let go of trying to do it ourselves. It is that work of allowing ourselves to know that that inner teacher that's there can come forth with the answer. And whether we call it the subconscious or whether we call it the inner heart, the love of the universe. But when I let the thinking that has come from my background and my history come into trying to make the decision, that's when the historical judgments show up with it. So it's kind of releasing the whole concept once the treatment is done, rather than trying to make sure I take this step or make sure I do this or I think this way. Trying to make myself do something that makes the difference.
I would like to add to that, that I remind myself that I don't have to figure out how all the details of how something is going to happen. When I do a treatment and the fifth step is release, and I'm not saying you don't, I just sit and not do anything. But then it's like this God intelligence that we all have. I'll be guided and I'll just intuitively know what step to take. They say treat and move your feet, but it doesn't mean trying in the mind, oh, well, maybe I need to do this, or maybe I should do that, or what am I going to do? Oh my God, how am I, I'll get into a kerfuffle where having a treatment and just releasing it and maybe focus on something else in the problem. And then sometimes things unfold where I'm guided to how to resolve something, or it resolves on its own. So I think that's something I remind myself. I don't have to sit there and try to figure out every detail.
I have to give this example because I think it's kind of cute. I was trying to figure out how I'm paying things off and managing my money, and I said, okay, now I need to withdraw this, and I need to do this, and I was telling myself what I needed to do, and I said, okay, I'm going to get to this later. I'm just going to write it out, and I'm going to write it on the list and say, Spirit, this is what I want to have to unfold. And I did it, and then I kept thinking about what I needed to do in order to get it paid off and everything. And I think it was my insurance, house insurance. They doubled it on me. So I was planning on where I was going to pull the money from to do this, and I kept putting it off, and I said, Nancy, you stop postponing things like that. And I said, okay, just be quiet and be still. And a day later, I got a check. Apparently, some that I had paid about 8 years ago, when I refinanced the house, that I had paid the old people some money over. And they were getting ready to send it to the state and wanted to know if they could send it to me. And they sent me just by, I think every penny that I had to pay, $700. And I said, well, this is called letting it go and letting it happen. And once it was like writing it down and knowing, allowing it to be that which Spirit does. sometimes you have no concept of where it can come from or how it can happen. And if you say it's an infinite amount of ways for it to happen, I mean, something I had would have never thought of. Actually, I didn't even know it existed. So it can happen. And that's one of the things about letting go and allowing Spirit to answer you. I would like to hear from more of you. Mary Jane.
Yeah, as I said earlier, and Kathy addressed this also about, thinking you have everything under control, and that's one of my worst, human experiences, to try and control everything in my life. It's just so useless. I have my list. I have, I'm going to do this and I'm going to do that and that, and it's, I have to leave room for Spirit. And travel lightly through this universe, not so tethered to the ground. And so, as I said earlier, I was going to an appointment at 2 o'clock, and at 1, the battery didn't start. The battery was dead. And these things almost rarely ever happen to me, because I'm always doing okay, it's time to do this, okay, I'm checking the mileage, it's time. I'm always like trying to be one step ahead of everything. And I've just been too busy. It just didn't happen. So the time lapse where I should have gotten an oil change and all that stuff, they would have noticed it, and I wouldn't have had but so it happened, and it was so quick when they came out there and got it done. I got to the appointment, 30 minutes late, but at least I got there. And it worked out okay. And I was saying earlier, the good news is I didn't hang on to this too long, because I blame myself. Why didn't you get this? Why didn't you let it go too long? And I let that go, and I just said, yeah, there's order in the universe, Mary Jane. Just show up and do what's in front of you. But I think one of my biggest character defects is just trying to micromanage my life. And I have good days where I don't, and I flow. And I was here Sunday. We had a great message from the minister, and I had a great day yesterday and Tuesday, and both days were just. And today was like it just didn't feel right. Something felt kind of off, And then these things happen. So it's self-centered behavior, I can see, because I'm just too much into this control. And I don't know what to do with that. I just, when Kathy read this part, something again about it must rise higher in consciousness in the condition it expects to heal. So I think I want to catch myself if I feel like I'm down here in the fields trying to control how the corn's growing, instead of going back to the farmhouse and just saying, I planted the seeds, let them go, So it's the control thing that's a little, no. But the good news is I didn't blame myself anymore that day, today. I just said, it just happened. So what? And so when I saw this thing, do not condemn yourself, I thought, yep. I think I got something out of it today in learning my own lesson, not to take things so seriously, and know the higher consciousness is always at work. And well, peace which is greater than the experience of pain. Perfect love casts out fear. don't know, I'm thinking I need to add more to my reading in the morning. I have so many great pieces of literature, starting with the Science of Mind textbook, for one thing. And I think I need to start my morning a little bit more with some Science of Mind practice. I think I'm jumping into the morning too quick and not grounding myself. So I really need to do that more. Really take like a half hour at least and just roll into that. I have my readings right there, my books and stuff, and I think I want to really commit tonight that I do that, starting tomorrow morning, and just getting a reading, whatever it is, and concentrating on it. There's some sections of the book that were brought up in some of the talks the last few Sundays, and I wrote them down, I marked them, so I think I'm going to really go to them and start reading them some more. And, a lot of Science of Mind books I have. I could pull out any one on the shelf, right? This Thing Called You is one of my favorite books. It's got just great vocabulary in there. So anyway, enough of me. Maybe somebody else.
I'm kind of spun. I don't know if I can use verbs well, but I'll try. I think of when we're talking about we judge ourselves and trying to control things. And I was just thinking about, what is the condition? And I think the condition for almost all of us is our lives are complicated. There's this insurance and there's the money, and you do it this way. And you don't just pay for something. The money cycles through your consciousness 3 times as it goes through the account. You get it, you process it, it goes through this place, it goes through that place, and you get another statement. So it's so easy for me to have fear that I cannot contain this dance that's going to go on. And, to treat that there's more, there's another reality. And, our page that we had last time had one of the things written on the top was about order, our lives in order. And, to have that faith that order is just there and I'll be guided in it. And one of the conditions that I have that is really fun, I have a small amount of ADD, and it is a good time sometimes. Yeah. And, I love that term, executive functioning in people. That's actually a psychological term. You have executive functioning, and sometimes I do not. But it is about having some order. What's the first indicated thing to do here? And to use treatment for that and go through small moments with little treatments. To do those moments, stay aware, keep the self-judgment from flaring up and getting worked up about the self-judgment. I can get things done. And I squirm with the idea that I need to keep leaning on that, but I can lean on it in a really gentle way of, like being aware, not going cuckoo. And self-judgment is so bizarre. And it is drop dead funny sometimes. It's just drop dead funny sometimes. You look down and there's like this big piece of dog slobber on the pants or something, and it's like, oh my God, what would people think? Really. But sometimes I can laugh at it, but other times I really hold on to it till I hurt. I really hold on to it. And to treat and release that, to calm down and get quiet and just let go, which is kind of odd because it's something that we're doing, but we're not doing. I mean, what the heck is that? However, I do experience when I can let go of some judgment, it just feels better. I just suddenly feel lighter. I think we live really complicated lives. And we try to make them more complicated by, we want to be even more perfect in the complication. I do, in Science of Mind, love that concept of race consciousness, cultural consciousness, that we're all hanging out in, and we're living in that.
Let's see. So I have a total, I just want to talk about the weekend that I had, which Bonnie and Kathy heard a little bit about this. And it's so interesting to me because the real man and the real body are perfect right now. And so Andrea and I were lucky enough to go see Father Boyle, Gregory Boyle, this past weekend. And that's his, we are all unshakably good, no exceptions. Just health gets in the way sometimes. And then he has a T-shirt on the back of it, and you are exactly what God had in mind when he made you, or it made you. It's something like that. Anyway, and so it was really nice to see how this echoed what we experienced this weekend, And so that was wonderful. I felt guided almost. It's like listening to your heart and doing what your heart says. And then on Sunday, I get things from Spirit Rock, and they said that Spirit Rock is a meditation center that Jack Cornfield was one of the founders of. Do you all know who I'm talking about? Mm-hmm. Okay. And so I get all their, this weekend is doing that, and they said, and then there's this one that just really appealed to me, or just called me, and it was from a monk it was led by a monk from Uganda, a Buddhist monk from Uganda. And the title was The Dhamma of Joy, which the Dhamma, and I'm not 100% sure. Do you know this, what it means? I think it's, no, that's Dharma. Yeah, I think the Dhamma is what Buddha said his last messages before he left this plane of existence. And so the Dhamma of Joy, it was all about joy in the afternoon. And this guy, he was just so wonderful. And he has brought Buddhism to Africa. And I don't know, it felt almost more joyful than the day before, almost. I know it, because it was so wonderful. But so that was, and then on Monday night, on Monday night, I'm a member, or I don't know what you would call it. I belong to the Sangha, and I can go and hear the meditation. Every Monday night, Spirit Rock has a meditation and a talk. And the woman who gave the talk had spent some time in Forest Monastery in Thailand. And it almost didn't matter what she said. Her voice, the forest was in her voice. It was just amazing to hear this really beautiful, insightful, and inspiring, just from the sound of her voice almost. I mean, she said some wonderful things, of course, but that was just such an interesting experience. And
I think that there are a lot more people that are aware of the divine presence than ever before. It seems like it's showing up in all kinds of places that I'm experiencing, or maybe it's me being more conscious of it, or that I'm seeing it everywhere. And the concept that everything is perfect right now has really given me an understanding that things, when they do seem uncomfortable, are a tap on the shoulder to remind me to go back to this concept. So it kind of, and it feels a lot freer in my life, that I don't have to get hung up even when I make statements that later on I understand, why did I say that? But even, so when it shows up that I ask myself that, or I think I need to make a change, I find myself saying, okay, thank you for that experience, Nancy. What did you learn from it? And that's my new statement to Nancy. Me too. And I'm really understanding what he is saying when he says that that everybody is a perfect person right now, and that letting go of this fear, and that love, and that concept of love, freeing us from fear, is just so profound to me. I mean, it's like when I do feel something is fear. I woke up the other night and I heard this noise. And you know, when you live by yourself, I was thinking, is that in my garage? Is that? And I remember thinking, and that as soon as I thought it, I said, okay, I have no conscience of anybody bothering me. Why am I even thinking that? And it was like, as soon as I said that, it didn't bother me anymore. Yay, that was beautiful. Yeah. So I'm really beginning to understand that everything that happens is a tap on the shoulder for me to come back to this truth about love and about being centered. And it's kind of interesting, and it has given me much more freedom in stepping into how can I share and spread this love concept and this philosophy concept of living from this place, of allowing ourselves to just tap ourselves on the shoulder whenever things go in a different way. How can we spread this? How can I spread it? I mean, that's my whole thrust right now.
Or even tap ourselves on the shoulders when everything's going right.
Well, I'm all right when it's going right.
Yeah, but to really know it, you know, to really acknowledge it and know it.
Oh, yeah. Yeah,
That's what I mean.
That's kind of like what I did
Right.
when the money came. I said, oh, this is good. Mm-hmm.
You know, I wanted to think about this concept of fear. Fear. Like today, what was I fearing? You know, because fear it seems to be the underlying condition that we're treating. And because it talks here in the second paragraph, in such a case, one should treat until one dissolves fear. Perfect love casts out fear. So like today, it was like, what would I be fearing? Just going through a day, letting it flow, you know. Oh, okay, battery didn't work. Okay, guess I need another one. I immediately go into fear. You know, I think of money, I think of, what else is going to go wrong? I start piling on, right? That piling on. Okay, so are a lot of people running around in fear?
Yeah, I mean, everything, the whole media is fear-based.
Yeah.
Read articles or go online sometimes, even YouTube videos. I like information. A lot of that's fear-based. If you don't do this, this is going to happen. And I've had to put that in perspective. If I watch the news or a lot of, like Reverend Maureen often says about when you read stuff in the media, it's information only. It doesn't mean that it's the, absolute truth.
Well, and just going through the day without maybe looking at media.
Yeah.
Like, for instance, Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday were great. I woke up and I thought, this feels good. I was flowing, and I woke up today and I just didn't feel the same. Mm-hmm. And I just thought, oh, this is interesting. And then these things happened. I don't know. I think I need to up my game and live in the Spirit more, live in trust more. Mm-hmm. Live in trust more that everything is unfolding the way it's supposed to. And I show up and do what I'm supposed to do the best I can. Period.
I'm right there with you, and I suspect everybody in this room is right there with you, is that we all want to live more. And I think this is why we're here, because we're looking at how we can flow with the divine more. And letting go of self-judgment. And he says, do not condemn yourself. Well, what I'm saying is letting go of self-judgment is not, I would say, that comfortable and that easy when you've been raised in a society where it's been presented to you a lot. But I think allowing ourselves to not judge that when you wake up like that, just see it as, this is telling me to do something.
Yeah, you're using judge a lot today. I hear that, and it's like, yeah, I think I'm being a little too judgy on my behavior. You said earlier, get ourselves out of the way. So what does that mean? How do you get yourself out of the way?
Getting myself out of the way. That's
Is it this thinking? I'm doing too much thinking.
Yeah. My wise women group are often tapping me on the shoulder, you're thinking too much. But I had to come to a place of being at peace with that, because what I found is that I do not want to stop seeking to know these spiritual principles and awareness better, moment by moment. That's my whole journey of life. So after I accept that, Mary Jane, then I allow myself to go into these thought processes. And sometimes during the day, and being retired, I'm home. Sometimes during the day, I'll spend hours trying to explore an idea. And I'll get book after book trying to find how to take my mind into a certain direction. Like somebody asked me to define love. I mean, I could define love to a certain extent, but then again, I really wanted to know what was my real understanding of love. So I started reading about different people's concept of love. So I do spend a lot of time in that thought process and from that perspective. But once I made it all right to do that, it seems like I'm doing it in a direction where I'm expanding my understanding of spirit. Long as I was knocking it, it seemed like it was taking me down. But once I said it's all right and I accept it, I began to find it taking me in the direction where I wanted to go. So and it's what I'm learning, how to just be all right being myself. And that's the person that is going to explore these principles and truths from every angle that I can do it until I feel it. I can come up with my way of seeing it. And it's seeing it, once I get it from where I'm seeing it, I don't have to wrestle with it. It just is.
How does everybody else, like Reverend Cal, how does everybody else get out of the way?
Yeah.
I think what I was too saying before, to focus on something else instead of trying to figure out and dwelling on it. And before I came into this teaching, I wasn't aware, they call the monkey mind. I would go over and why is this? Why is that? And what I realized that was just putting more energy on it. And just focus on something else. I'll share, since you're an artist, I went over to Margot's the other day and she got me started on the mosaic making. And so for a couple of days, I went out on my little deck. I have a little balcony in my place and did the mosaic. And I don't know if I'm doing it right or whatever, but it was very meditative. And it got me out of that getting in I think because I got out of my head and got more into the creative side. And that's what I found. It was like I lost myself in that. But that mosaic, it was just, you've made that little tool to break the glass and put it together. And I did get out of self-judgment about that because I look at that mosaic and think, wow, mine is just a very simple thing. But if it makes my heart sing, who the heck cares what it looks to other people?
Mm-hmm.
That person who did that, their first mosaic was also the little circle with the bird in it. The simple mosaic. I would like to say that what Nancy is, in my observation, your study of love is exactly what Ernest Holmes did. Can you imagine how long he sat reading and studying? I also wanted to mention about the dead battery syndrome. One of the things that happens with me is I have fear when there's a dead battery or the car, something like that happens, because I have a thing that's been fed into me and I grew up with, that I am unworthy. I didn't really watch the car, so that happened. It's my fault. There's just like this deep-seated icky thing of it's your fault. I'm very aware of it. I am unworthy. And now I'm fearful I'm going to call for help. And because when I needed to get help from my parents, they weren't helpful. They just scolded me. And I always think that AAA guy is going to be mean. When it isn't now, it's going to be something like that. I feel so loved when AAA comes. It's like you don't mind that this happened. And that unworthiness that's a judgment of myself. And it's not good. I'm very aware of it. And the unworthiness, for some reason, it gives justification to the fear. You are unworthy, and you ought to be afraid because stuff's going to happen. It's all very subtle. It's very slippery. And I would say a lot of the time now I'm aware of it.
Okay. What helps me is not pushing it away necessarily. It's just feeling where I feel it in my body, because I find that sometimes if you just say, "Oh, it's not there," if you ignore it and don't give it the attention that it needs, that it just goes someplace else in your body. So for me, it's just feeling where I feel it. And I do this every single time without doubt. That's a joke. Yeah, and I try to make a little. Anyway, I just know that I have to recognize that it's there and be with it, and actually and equanimity. Find equanimity with the feeling as much as I possibly can, and that can be very helpful to me. And it feels like it helps. Not stuff it down where it's going to come back up again, but if I can really find true equanimity with the way I'm feeling, that helps it to that. It's like our class, the bodhicitta. You know, it helps the heart. The heart just love what is, who I am, and anyway, that helps.
Yeah, it's that equanimity.
Yeah.
I've learned to recognize it as ego, that my ego is saying, you know, I've got to condemn myself because I'm not good enough in this particular instance. And I am. The wholeness and the perfection is there for me. The only thing between me and God is me. And I read Untethered by Michael Singer. It's a wonderful teaching about get your ego back there where it belongs. It's there for a purpose, and you recognize it, but you don't let it govern you, and you don't let it direct your choice, because there's so much bigger and more varied choices available to us. If you ever got to hear David Hawkins speak, he had a little teddy bear that he would hold up whenever he talked about the ego, and he'd pick up the teddy bear, shake the teddy bear, and wiggle it, and that's this childlike part of him that says me, me, me. It's got to be me. And it's okay. There's that part that wants that or has this human experience of that, but you can recognize it for what it is and move beyond it to something bigger and better. And even on the good side of ego, what I heard from Father Greg on Saturday was he would say, you're in this dark, dark room with this soul who is feeling a lot of darkness, and you've got the flashlight to point to the light switch. But that other soul has to turn that light switch on for themselves.
So good. Yeah, that is so good. Reminding me of yeah.
Oh, that's beautiful. Oh, how you feel about what you've heard?
I feel better.
Yeah.
More clarity.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
And one of the things is beautiful. It's time for us to close, but
wow.
this hour always goes fast when we talking, isn't it? One of the things that I would say is you heard all the different ways that people step into that experience. And that's the beauty of sharing this teaching, because we find that each one has to cultivate that for themselves. And each one of us did. And each one of us on this path have found ways to handle our experiences. And knowing the power of the consciousness is the idea, is to turn towards it, that idea that there is a way for me to handle this. And once that happens, things will show up to give you answers. As you ask that question, look at all the different, and it might be a nugget there, a nugget there, a nugget there, a nugget there, a nugget there. You know what? And you put together, it would trigger something within you to find an answer. And that's the wonder of sharing this philosophy with each other. And it is 7:59, so we have to close. I really thank you. Every time we do this, I learn something new. Not only for myself when I'm trying to share my understanding, but how expanded in how infinitely the divine presence has gifted us with ways of doing things. There is no end. It's not binary, it is infinite in the ways in which we can step. And that component of love, and which I feel like this room has a big component of love that we are experiencing here with each other. And that component allows us to be where we are and be as vulnerable as we want to be and feel safe in being vulnerable. And living in a society that allows that to be, to me, is a society that will grow and expand. Yeah. And I'm very grateful. Thank you all for joining us. And I'm just going to say a quick word of treatment to say goodnight. A word that says that we appreciate the idea of knowing that the divine presence is in and through each and every aspect of being that we are experiencing. Knowing that this willingness to accept ourselves where we are and how we are comes forth and in this environment in which love dominates the energy, the presence, the awareness, all of this takes us into a richer experience where we have willingly accepted that we are the divine presence, developing, growing, and expanding our ability to be on this plane in a loving and joyful and harmonious way. And so we go forth from this experience saying thank you to each other and to all those around us. And with this in our mind and our consciousness, we let it be so, as we say.
And so it is.
Mike, are we off? Good night.